Good one. Was good. You know, last night I was going to talk about how the incoming, let me get to the article actually, because I didn't bring it up last night and I was supposed to. Let's see, Control F, Tyler. So apparently, the nominee for the CFTC, for CFTC position, has texted and spilled the beans that Tyler Winklevoss had tried to bully him, basically. I told you I don't like Gemini. And I told you I don't like the Winklevoss twins, like, at all. Like, in no certain way. Right? I just don't like them. I don't like how they do business. I don't like how they move. I don't like what they do. There's nothing about them I like. And the texts kind of speak to that end. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. There is news out there that talks about how Tyler Winklevoss specifically tried to push the nominee for CFTC role and basically put the kibosh on it. And he's got the text to prove it. The guy's got the text to prove it. And he released them. So, like I said, I'm not a fan of the Winklevoss twins. You know, Gemini is probably going to do well with an IPO. They're probably going to get priced over $3 billion. Even though they've taken a loss over the first half of this year. I think that they don't know how to run a business. They were involved in that whole fiasco with DCG. So yeah, I just don't like them. I just don't like them, like, at all. At all. I don't wish foul upon them, but I would never touch what they're touching. Just saying. Just putting that out there for you. South Korea's new crypto regulation, effective September 17th, will see digital asset firms as venture companies. Now, it's significant for three reasons. The first, granting tax breaks, right? That's number one. Number two, R&D grants, right? Three, government level financial support. It would qualify them for it. That's a big deal. What does that say to everybody? I mean, to me, it says, yeah, we kind of want to make moves in the digital space. And that's huge because South Korea is one of the largest markets for crypto, for the use of crypto. Not just investment, the use of crypto. I'm just saying, there are things that we should be paying attention to, and that's something around the world that we should be paying attention to. And then another one is, there's a hip hop group based in China. I think it's called Culture Group. They invested $33 million in Bitcoin, developing Web3 tokens, a pool fund for Web3 tokens and such. Wow. $33 million by a hip hop group, a Chinese hip hop group. Just saying, when it comes to adoption, it's coming. It's happening over here. It's happening over there. It's happening back there. It's happening up there. It's happening. And I told you before, there's going to be an uptick to how crypto becomes more ubiquitous when you see it in the store. When I could walk into the bodega and be like, yo, let me have a bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll, salt, pepper, no ketchup. Salt, pepper, no ketchup. My Booster Love coffee on the side and boop, boop, with Bitcoin or whatever other coin, that's when you know. That's when you know. And it'll come out of nowhere. The ubiquity will come out of nowhere. This is not the channel for that, so yeah, it automatically gets deleted. You want to talk about stuff like that? Go to another channel. This is about investment and investing in yourself. That's what this channel is about. So just putting that out there for you. I know you mean well, but that's not the topic of this channel. So I'm not mad about what you're saying. It's just not the channel for it. Okay? Thank you. Then you've got Turkey advancing its digital lira, which is also huge in and of itself, because you want to look at the kind of country that Turkey is and what a CBDC can do in a country like that. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying, wow, talk about control. And they're moving forward big time. They're advancing their digital lira project with programmable payments and offline settlements. That's no joke. That's no joke. Pay attention. Again, I keep trying to tell everybody, what happens in one country is going to affect other countries. Right? What happens in other countries is going to affect other countries. We live on a tiny, tiny blue marble, and everything is interconnected. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Okay? The reason why I say this is because your first investment is yourself. It's here. Then you'll start to understand the news that's going on and all that other good stuff. Then you'll start to understand your entries and exits. And entries and exits is not just one thing, right? It's how much does something cost to get in? How much does it cost to get out? All that good stuff. And it's also the pathway in and the pathway out. And that's what enables you to actually invest deliberately. Very big deal. Very, very big deal. More news. Backpack Crypto. Now, this Backpack Crypto exchange is crazy. Just the other day, I noted that they had, I had told you a while ago, they had purchased FTX EU, right? Paid everybody back, did what they were supposed to do, and then they opened up their doors in the EU. You want to know what they're doing now? They're about to open up their doors in the United States across several states. This was a small crypto exchange that is now becoming a global player. I'm telling you, pay attention to these things. They're not small moves. I pay attention to infrastructure moves because the more solid the infrastructure, the more solid the market. Just saying, that's a big move for a small company. And what do they plan on doing? The biggest thing that I saw was they want to emphasize transparency via daily proof of reserve reports after acquiring FTX EU. That's a big deal because what they're saying is, hey, we're not going to inherit their problem. We're not going to have their transparency problem. And this is how we plan on attacking that problem. Can you say, wow? Again, just paying attention to things. Then you've got Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon predicting a 25 basis point cut in September. Agreed. I think the 25 basis point cut is already in the cards. I think there are a lot of people that are wishing for a 50 basis point cut, and I'm just like, yeah, no, you don't really want that. Too much of a shock to the system. You don't want that. You think you want that. Right? And people that need to borrow money, they're hoping for that. 50 basis point cut would be huge, right? Because then you can go borrow money at a decreased rate. Just saying. We don't want that. We don't want that. I know it's already going to drive the bond markets crazy. So we don't need anything more than that. And people are thinking that there are probably going to be 3 cuts by the end of the year. Just saying. And then you've got to pay attention to all the layoffs that are happening. Quiet layoffs. Like Microsoft laid off 200 people from its gaming team after they built, AI tools to help them with their jobs, just to find out that those AI tools were gonna replace them. Yeesh. Yeah, not cool. Bitmine spent another $200 million acquiring a little over 46,000 Ethereum. Big moves, kind of big moves. I'm just looking at these moves and I'm saying to myself, yep, another huge move. VanEck has confirmed that they actually do want to come out with a hyperliquid ETF. Huh? Yeah, makes sense, right? They're hot, they're solid, and they're saying, yeah, we recognize that. We see that. We want to get in on that. Not a small thing. Not a small thing at all. And then you have the SEC chair coming out and saying, now is crypto's time. Now is crypto's time. What? You're starting to see everything start to bubble up. And this is after saying, no, we're going to kick the can on 90 different ETFs at the moment. So to me, it's great rhetoric. Still no action. Still no action. The only thing that I saw was that he confirmed that, yeah, XRP is not a security. So that was a boost for XRP. Want to know what else was a boost for XRP? Yeah, interoperability with Chainlink. Interoperability with Chainlink. If you know me, you know I love Chainlink. There are certain projects out there, certain projects out there that I just love. And one of the reasons why I love some of these projects is because they are a part of the connective tissue. They're a part of what makes Web3 work. And Chainlink is a pillar. So that tie-up between Chainlink and XRP, people are looking at how XRP is working with banks and how Chainlink is working with banks, and oh, that's a big battle. Like, y'all people are not thinking correctly. They serve two completely different purposes. Yeah. One is meant for settlements and the movement of money. The other is the world's largest oracle. The movement of information. Being able to tie the digital world to the traditional world. That link, that's Chainlink. Get the name? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just pointing it out. Just pointing it out. Some people think that when there's more than one coin involved, that there's a competition. There's not. In this case, there is not. In this case, it is a very big deal and very much fun. So I want you to hear something that's really crazy. So Chainlink got in bed, as we all know, Chainlink got in bed with Swift, or rather, Swift got in bed with Chainlink. It's Chainlink's world, okay? XRP is a competitor to Swift. And here's Chainlink getting along fine with Chainlink and getting along fine with XRP. Wow. All you can say is, wow. And here's something that's really funny. So the other day we noticed that they would have put the GDP on blockchain and they chose Pith and Chainlink. And here we are with Chainlink making more moves. And you know what I have not heard, even though I'm favorable to the project. I don't own a bag of it, but I'm favorable to the project. I haven't heard jack from Pith. I haven't heard any follow-on from Pith. Very interesting, right? It is. It's because of what they do and how they do it. I'm telling you, interoperability is a very big deal. People don't understand how much of a big deal. My company, Rebel Visions, is a principal member of the Metaverse Standards Forum. I can tell you now, interoperability is key. And every time I hear somebody talk about that kind of stuff, I'm kind of like, oh, it's not that big a deal. Blah. No, it's a huge deal. You're right. It's not that big a deal. It's a huge deal. It's monumental. That's how things are going to move in the future. Something else that I'm thinking about in the future is I keep asking this question, and I'll continue to ask this question. What is a bank? Hold that thought in your head. On the digital side, what's the equivalent to a bank? An exchange. What is an exchange? There's a certain inevitability that I'm expecting in the future, that the role of banks will be greatly diminished. And then that the role of exchanges will follow suit. It'll be a long time after, but it'll follow suit. Right? You had 8-track tapes, then you had cassette tapes, then you had DVDs, all that stuff. Do you have that anymore? Nope. You don't. They all went by the wayside. All those physical things went by the wayside. It's inevitable for banks. It's inevitable for exchanges. And people are sitting there and going, oh, exchanges, they're not going to go away. No, the exchange themselves won't go away. But what they do now versus what they will be doing, that's going to be a big difference. That's going to be a big difference. So when I look at banks haven't figured out what they're supposed to be, and banks are having their lunch eaten and having to wash the dishes of all these companies that are becoming banks. Look at Kraken. Kraken became a bank. Look at Circle, trying to become a bank. You have all of these digital companies becoming banks. Kraken's taken that to a whole new level. Whole new level. I'm not even going to tell you what Kraken is doing. Actually, you know what? I'll give you a little taste. And I want you to go do your own research. Kraken became a bank. Kraken bought Ninja Trader. Go look those two up. Go look that up. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. The GMB 3. Go practice the GMB 3 and go do that. You'll be happy. You'll be happy. Somebody was asking me last night, like, how do you invest in yourself? I say it every day. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Want to know more about that? Go buy my 2 books. Yeah, that's right. I wrote 2 books. Look at that. Crypto Foundations for Building Multi-Generational Wealth. That's one. And I wrote this big book, The GMB 3, The Art of Research, Timing, and Deliberate Wealth. This, it looks small, but this is big enough to be a college course. I know because I wrote it. This one's chock full of nuts too. Just saying. I love answering questions, but not when I put the information at your fingertips. Okay? There's a lot of stuff going on. Avalanche's $1 billion treasury plan, yeah, that's probably going to happen. I forget which one is audio. The big book is not audio yet. Still working on it. It takes a lot to make an audio file, man. Everybody's like, oh, you just drop it into AI. And you know what happens when you drop it into AI? It'll mispronounce words. So you literally have to sit there and listen to it all the way through. And then you have to get to that word that it mispronounces. Do it phonetically so it pronounces it the way you want it to be pronounced. And so you've got a second copy of your book just for audio. Yeah. Or you spend a hell of a lot of money paying an actor to read your book. That's a hell of a lot of money. Did I mention it's a hell of a lot of money? Yikes. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But we will have digital copies for both. That way you can open it up and let in some kind of application that will read the book. Just read the words and you'll be fine. Like, I think that's really where audiobooks are going, because there are so many applications out there that are enabling people, like Microsoft Word. I think Adobe does it. You just have applications out there that you can click read aloud and it'll read whatever text is there in a nice voice. And it won't be perfect. Like I said, it won't go over that word and pronounce it properly and stuff like that. But you'll get the gist of it, because hopefully, you'll recall and you'll go do the research. I mean, these are meant to be reference books. They're meant to be reference books. They're meant for you to go back and refer. Like the big thick one, the GMB3, that's meant to teach you how to apply the rule of GMB3 to buying businesses, to buying stocks, to buying crypto. And then with those lessons, you can extrapolate from there and see how you can apply that in other places. Like, I don't know, your career. Just saying. What else is there? Arthur Hayes invested almost $1 million in Athena's ENA tokens, or ENA tokens. Why? Because there's going to be a vote by Hyperliquid holders in terms of who's going to control Hyperliquid's stablecoin, USDH. That's going to be a big deal. And I think either way, no matter who gets it, I think ENA could be a big deal. Hyperliquid's going to be a big deal, is a big deal. Just saying. The SEC's indication that XRP is a security, like I said before, that's huge. Because what they're doubling down on, this is what it is. What up, Hutanic? Go stand in the corner for that bad dad joke, man. It's too early in the morning for bad dad jokes. That's you're hurting my feelings with that. But you know what we should do? That's right. We should go over the numbers. Just give me a moment. Let's go and scoot over there. Let me get my notes out of the way. I do the research because you can see my notes. And it's not just these bullet points. Like, I've got big notes on every subject that I talk about. So I won't necessarily get to everything, but I've got the notes. I've done my research. And I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But, I'm wrong. I don't mind admitting that I'm wrong. It's not a problem. I don't mind when the community tells me, hey, you might want to change this up, blah, blah, blah. I don't mind that. This is a safe space for us where we can ask questions that otherwise we'd have thought was stupid. But here, it's not a stupid question. It's a safe space. That's what we're building in this community. That's what sets us apart from everybody else. What I noticed is that everybody else has a channel. We've actually got a community. And we've got a lot of things coming. So, yeah, we're having fun. So, Dow Future implied open up 70, S&P implied open up 12, NASDAQ futures implied open is 63.5, oil down 0.54, and the US 10-year up by 0.015. Just saying. CPI data comes out at 8:30, right? There's Adobe. Yeah, I don't really care who's reporting. Those all, I really don't care. But today, Thursday, we get core CPI. And that's what I think is going to drive the market. If these numbers come in neutral to good, I think the markets explode. Now, here's the kicker. If the markets explode, you want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start shaving profits. Big. And then I'll wait for the pullback and I'll get back in. Just saying. That's the plan. Fear and greed index is at 54, so we're well into neutral territory, the upside of neutral territory. Not bad about that. $156.864 billion in total value locked. That's also a good thing. All right, now let's move over. Let's take a look at this. Ooh. Oh, we're doing it again. Look at that. You see that line right here that I drew the other day? So the line that I drew the other day, we seem to kind of be sticking to that line. We came down a bit right here, right? But it looks like we're trying to get above that line. If we can get above that line, that would be huge. If we can maintain being above this trajectory line, That would be huge. And I drew it 1, 2, 3, technically 4. So I drew that line, spread it out so we could see, like, what is it going to do? Because we have 2 lines. We have this bottom line over here coming down, which we followed for a little bit. And now I'm trying to see, well, are we on a different trajectory? 122 being the next level. I have my next level at 123,992. Right? Because it was the previous high. There's a new high. That was the previous high. And we have been trading at that point for a while. We've been trading between 109,337 and 123,992 for a while. We've gone up past it a little hair. You can see it right over here. And then we came down past it for a little bit. You can see it over here, and then back here, I believe you could see it as well. If it'll fill in, that would be nice. There you go. You can see how we came below it over here. But I'm saying I think that we could be on a different trajectory, at least for a little while. Just saying. We're starting to approach, we're getting close to the middle of the month. And I think the back half of September into the first half of October could be good. Just saying. Just putting it out there for you. Something to think about. Come on now. Every now and then this site just acts up. Whatever. Here's the big board. And you can see Bitcoin's doing well. Ethereum's doing well. You can see that Ethereum has surpassed, Bitcoin year to date. Just saying, there was a 10% difference. Now it's a little over 10% difference between the two. Not bad. Not bad moves. XRP up above $3. Also not bad for the year to date. I pay attention to all of these days. 1 hour, 24 hour, 7 day, 30 day, 60 day, 90 day, and year to date. Why? Because I need to understand the rhythm of a coin. So that way, when news hits, I can understand if that rhythm is on an upswing or a downswing and how that news might affect that movement. Just saying. Just putting it out there for you. Tools that I use, tricks that I do to try to figure out what's going on. It might be manipulated to move up, move down, but big boy's chump cash. It is moved in a way that I have shaved all year. Yeah, sounds about right. But I don't know that it's manipulation by the big boys versus it's just how the market is moving. But I'm expecting, because the big boys keep buying. Bitmine Immersion buys. I haven't seen any outflows from that company. They just buy. Strategy just buys. So I'm sitting back and I'm paying attention to that stuff. Why? Because it can make a difference for us. I'm playing the volatility with certain sets of, one set of wallets, my trading wallets, with my hodling wallets. Yes, I will wind up selling everything, taking the profit out, planting it somewhere for a little bit, waiting for the dust to settle, and then getting right back in right there. That's the overall plan. I doubt that there will be anything that I'm just going to hold. They won't. He'll keep buying. He'll keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. Why? Because Bitcoin is different than every other coin, every other token, every other project that's out there, in that it's easier to leverage Bitcoin as a solo thing versus I need a portfolio of products for other things. The only other one right now that might fall into that Bitcoin space in terms of being able to leverage it in that kind of way is Ethereum. That's the only other one that you could probably say, oh, I can get a loan on that very easily. Bitcoin for sure, Ethereum probably, I don't know why, but Solana you can get loans on, but you need a lot of Solana and you probably do need other things in your portfolio to go get that loan. Again, getting the loan to live off that money so that you don't have to pay taxes on it. Just saying. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about us. Why? Because we're a very different community in the fact that we are a community. And we're growing. We're growing big. I suspect that we will hit 25,000 relatively soon. Relatively soon, I believe we'll get there. Anyway, everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. I'll see you again tonight for the Crypto Overflow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody, thank you and have a good one. Bye bye.